Hello and welcome to Wolfman Gaming. This is my Sekiro Shadows Die Twice complete walkthrough. And this is episode 13, which I have named Going to Fountainhead Palace. In my last episode, I referred to the last area of this game as the Divine Realm. And that is somewhat true. It is actually a Divine Realm, but it is called Fountainhead Palace. But before we can get there, or before we will go there, we actually can get there quite soon, but we are gonna go through the different steps to get the Purification ending. In the last episode I showed you how to get the Shura ending, but there are 3 more endings to this game. There is the Purification, the Immortal Severance, and Dragon's Homecoming. And we're also gonna finish the rice quest that we have been doing from time to time throughout this walkthrough to get the Dragon's Homecoming ending. And in this episode I'm gonna show you the final step to getting it. But as you can see, I'm running back and forth in between Emma and Kuro to talk to them and get different key items to progress the game towards the Purification ending. And this is not much fun. It's never fun to just run back and forth in a game like this. You want to go out and you want to kill enemies and be this super ninja. And we will. Absolutely. As we have done in all the other episodes of this walkthrough up to this point, there will be action. We just need to get through this a little bit slow part at the beginning. Goodbye. But I think we're almost done with the talking here. I just got a bit unsure what I was supposed to do. I think I stopped to check my notes for a second. But now we're gonna talk to Kuro 3 times after we've done all the things leading up to this point, and he's gonna cut himself with the mortal blade. Because Kuro is an immortal, he cannot be harmed by normal weapons, just the mortal blade, and we need that to light the incense burner properly. So we give him the sword, the screen fades to black, and he says something that it's over. I think he said it's done. But now our little incense burner is lit and we can head actually to Fountainhead Palace, but we are not gonna go there just yet because Kuro talks about the dragon's tears and we are gonna eavesdrop on him, so we progress our dialogue with Emma before we get out of this place. And I think I'm gonna go and do that now. Yes, so we go in behind this screen wall and you want to eavesdrop on him until he says, do what must be done. That is your cue. Sometimes I think he says something else before. But as soon as he has said, do what must be done, you can go over here and rest and Emma will be gone. She has now moved to the top of the stairs. So we go up and we talk to her once again. And here you must agree with her that Kuro cannot be harmed. This is very important. So you choose, I agree, Kuro cannot be allowed to die. And she says that she will look into things and she might have something very soon. So we go down and we rest. Not quite sure how much time in this game progresses throughout one of his rests, but sometimes it feels like it should be a hell of a lot. But then we go up to talk to Emma again, and she's found something, Tomo's note, where he talks about purification, to cut the ties of the dragon in the blood, or something fancy like that. So we just breeze through the rest of her dialogue, and we are gonna go out of this place now, I think. First we rest, and then we travel. Or don't we? Yes. Now, I want you to travel to the old grave. If you don't have that one unlocked, just jump out through the window and run to this place as fast as you can. And we get to talk to Emma again. And she talks about orangutan, which is another name for the sculptor. And make sure once again that you exhaust all of her dialogue.
Back then, Lord Tucket was a one, perhaps also.
And she mentions that she's gonna talk to orangutan at his temple or something like that. And that is the end of her dialogue. So now we're gonna go back to the sculptor's idol. And we're gonna fast travel to the dilapidated temple. Because we are gonna eavesdrop once again on Emma and the sculptor. Also known as orangutan. And the way to do that is we just move over here to the back side of this little house or little smithy or whatever it's called. So you hear them talking about that Kuro is going to die. And after you've listened to this conversation, we are gonna go in and we're gonna talk to Emma and confront her about what we overheard.
I'm afraid.
Ask about what you overheard. And she will give you another key item called the Father's Bell Charm. This can be used on the Buddha statue just to my left to go to an alternate version of the Hirata estate. And of course ask her what she's hiding, then you get the Father's Bell Charm. You cannot access the alternate version of the Hirata estate if you have not yet killed Lady Butterfly. So if you for some reason haven't killed her by this point, make sure to go to Hirata and do so immediately. So we can access the alternate version where we will kill the last two mini-bosses later on. But now we go to the inner sanctum and once again we can talk to the Child of Rejuvenation or whatever she's called, the Divine Child. She has assimilated after getting the Visceras and she gives you the Frozen Tears, which is the key item that we need to use at the end of this game to unlock the Dragon's Homecoming ending. And now that she is prepared to be the Dragon Cradle, she also gives you a new version of rice. Now it's called Fine Snow and it is super powerful. If you thought rice was good, it's nothing compared to Fine Snow. Because that is basically rice on steroids. It has the same effect as a pellet or normal rice, that it gives you healing over time. And it gives you a lot of it. Here I'm just doing a quick stop in here because I realized I was really close to unlocking another skill point. I suggest you do the same because when we get to Fountainhead Palace, the first thing you are gonna do is face off against the corrupted monk once again. She is not nearly as tanky this time, but she has 3 life bars. Which is interesting, but we are only gonna fight properly against the first of those 3. But now that all that is said and done, we have headed back to the wedding cave door where we fought the corrupted monk last time, and we are gonna go into this little hut and pray, which will transport you to the Fountainhead Palace on this giant rope. This is probably something that is buried so deep in Japanese mythology. Super weird big thing, but it is a quite cool cutscene. But that is something you have to watch for yourself, because as you know, I always take out cutscenes in my walkthroughs. But going into the fight with the corrupted monk, you'll want to have the shinobi firecrackers equipped. And do not use any spirit emblems in phase 1 or 2 of this fight. Just make sure you have the firecrackers equipped for phase 3. That is important. And of course have healing items. And she has a perilous sweep, which you can just jump over. She has a perilous thrust, which you can punish with Kiri. And in phase 3, she can kind of like throw terror snakes at you. Make sure to get out of the way of those. But hopefully, if you follow this guide, you will not have to worry about them at all. Because the only phase we are gonna fight fairly is the first phase. And this is a lot similar to when we fought her in Mibu Village. But as I said, something you will notice this time is that she is not at all as tanky. She actually has a quite fair life bar and posture bar. You don't have to rely on things like mortal draw to make some damage. And in this fight, I like to take on quite a passive approach. Focus more on parrying than swinging, because when she hits hard. And she is quite aggressive. So if you can learn to parry the parry timing on her attacks, that will serve you well in the end. And you will build up her posture bar quite quickly. But after she does a combo, you will have time to put in 2 swings maybe. Maybe even 3, but don't get greedy in this fight. Greed is your worst enemy. And something to know, this bridge, you can actually, if you're not careful, you can jump off it. And that will kill you, I think. So be very careful. Try to stay grounded throughout this entire phase. But now that phase 1 is complete, this is important. Immediately get up on that highest branch. I struggle a little bit, but get up here, look down, lock on, jump off, do a death blow. And that ends phase 2. Going into phase 3, buff up with an Akko's sugar and wait for her to stand back up. And we throw firecrackers and do 4 swings. And we use firecrackers. 1, 2, 3, 4. Firecrackers. 1, 2, 3, 4. Just repeat this process. Do not try to go for 5 swings like I did there. But if you use firecrackers, 4 swings, firecrackers, 4 swings, you will stun lock her throughout this entire phase. I got a little bit greedy, lost my timing, so I had to parry some of her hits. But that is the end of the corrupted monk. And since we used the mortal blade, we pulled out the centipede, so its immortality severed, and she can hopefully rest in peace now. But from the corrupted monk you get the dragon's tally board. Now all vendors will be selling divine confetti, which is a really good thing, because when this game first came out, if you wanted to go for the headless before, there was really no good way to get divine confetti before you defeated the true corrupted monk. Some of the enemies, or the enemies in Ashina Castle, would sometimes drop them, but that was really rare. And of course, I don't think that you should take on the headless before late game, but if you wanted to go for them early, there was really no way to get it before you defeated the true corrupted monk. But either way, this is the Fountainhead Palace, and this place is jam-packed with the Mist Nobles, you know, the one we fought in the Hidden Forest. But these are actually super dangerous. They look goofy, they look like they couldn't hurt a fly, but you saw him playing his flute. They drain your life essence and your youth. And something I want to warn you about here. Do not go into the deep water. I'm gonna take out my binoculars or monocular and show you a mini boss, which we will take on later on. You see him up there on the tree? If you go out into the deep water, he will boost a football with electricity, and he will shoot it down into the water and give you shock damage, which will take off about half your health. And he is there for you to not progress too far into this area, or trying to skip past a lot of this area is a more correct way to say it. And here in the Fountainhead Palace, make sure you have the Sabimaru equipped, because this place is jam-packed with ninja enemies. And they can be quite dangerous. They are really fast and they like to jump around like meth heads. Really stressed out guys. But the Sabimaru is like kryptonite to them. You know, normal enemies can be poisoned by it, but these enemies go completely haywire. They start vomiting, cramping, probably start shitting and pissing themselves. So they are super weak to it, and they could be really dangerous if you don't use the Sabimaru. But this weapon makes this area, or most of the enemies in this area, a breeze. And there are also great opportunities to stealth kill enemies in this area, and that is one of the main reasons I really like this place. Also, the fact that it is absolutely stunning. I think it's really beautiful, and it reminds me a lot of the Tenchu games. I know that I think From Software did some of the late Tenchu games. I don't think they did the first ones. I think that was Capcom or something. But I think that was a really fun game series. Where I only played the first 3 games in the series. But they are stealth-based ninja games. And this place reminds me so very much of them. And also have, this is something I should have said earlier, have the shurikens equipped. Because this place is also packed with dogs. And these dogs can bark lightning at you. So you want to take them down from a distance. Use the shurikens. You often get spirit emblems, so you should never run out of spirit emblems. But try to take them down without them getting close to you, because if they start barking lightning, they will probably... you will end up in a world of shit, basically. But I talked about the Mist Nobles, the flute-playing fellas. And I said they look goofy and that they suck out your life and your youth. Because whenever they see you, they start playing their flute, and you see those little white, or you saw those little white orbs going out from Sekiro. If one of the Mist Nobles manages to suck up those orbs, you will instantly become an old man, and you will move super slow. You can basically not defend yourself, and they will kill you in an instant. And I can say that is something that really took me by surprise the first time I played through this game, because I felt like, having taken down the Mist Noble in Hidden Forest, I was like, yeah, these guys are cakewalk. And he started playing his flute, and I was like, yeah, is that all you got? And I realized quite quickly, yeah, that... okay, these guys are not to be fucked with. But the good thing is, they are really easy to kill, as long as you are aggressive, because they have no way to defend themselves, or no means of defense. And when you get up this little staircase, I like to hide behind this wall. This is also something that is very Tenchu style. And just wait for this little Mist Noble to pass the corner so we can do a stealth kill. And actually, while I'm on the subject of Tenchu, I remember I bought the first game in the series way back when, many years ago, and started playing it, and realized a few years later, or I played for the game when I was early teens, and I found my old save or memory card when I bought the game later on, because I borrowed it from a friend when I was young. This is getting very confusing. First I played it as a teen, a friend's copy, and then I bought it, found my old memory card and started playing it again and realized I had gotten Grandmaster on every mission in the game, and playing it again as an adult, I have no idea how I managed to do that as a teen. Because damn, that game was hard. And there you saw that ninja guy. You saw what effect the Sabimaru had on him. I stabbed it after the first swipe. He immediately started cramping up and vomiting. That is how powerful that is against these enemies. And when you get to this area, be quick up here on the ceiling, because there is a Miss Noble and 2 ninja guys that are walking around this little area. And if you try to take on all 3 at once, you can have a decent chance, since we have the Sabimaru and stuff like that, but it's unnecessary to risk it. And don't go out into that little courtyard, because that is jam-packed with the Miss Nobles and you don't want their attention. You don't want 5 or 6 of those starting to play their flutes at the same time, because you will most likely lose that fight. And here we need to be quick. Kill this Miss Noble, ignore the guy with the spear, immediately run left and kill this one. And now we can focus on the spear guy. And these also have lightning attacks, and you saw right there, 1 lightning strike, half my health bar gone. So lightning is not fun. If you have mastered the skill of shooting back lightning that I talked about in the fight against Genichiro, you can use it on these enemies as well. But I've said, I've played through this game numerous times and I have yet to master it. I just can't get the timing right. I don't know why. But we need to get over this bridge to progress. And so something happened right there. That was a bit unfortunate on my behalf, that I had my camera swung around the other way. That is a giant carp, and he is the reason we picked up precious baits throughout this game. Because we are gonna use that and a truly precious bait to kill him. But we are not gonna do it in this episode, but something we are gonna do is take out the Sakura Bull of the Palace, which is a mini boss. Very similar to the Blazing Bull that we faced off against at the beginning of Ashina Castle. But with a twist, because the Sakura Bull is a lot easier. We are actually gonna let him kill himself. More or less. See him right down there? He has a log on his horns and it gleams with souls. It's not fire this time. So make sure to equip the firecracker and make sure you have it selected. I have the Sabimaru selected still. So things go a bit pear-shaped here. Do not do what I do. I'm sneaking behind him and waiting for him to turn around. But since I didn't have the firecrackers equipped, I need to retreat. Bit embarrassing, I know. But it's good that it happened, because if you need to reset this fight, you can just run over here, get back up on the roof, and he will lose track of you really quickly. And now I have selected the firecrackers. But what we are gonna do, how we are gonna kill this bull, is we are gonna sneak behind him, wait for him until he starts to turn around, and then you throw firecrackers. Because he is used to this place that is really calm and he's not adjusted to high noises. So that will scare the ever-loving shit out of him, and he will start running away, run into a wall and knock himself out. And then we just put in the death blow. Super easy mini boss fight, and if you try to take him on fairly, he can be a pain in the ass. Because I think that log on his horns actually builds up terror. So I highly recommend you use the strategy I just showed you. Make it as easy as possible. And he also drops a beast's karma. So that is the final spirit emblem upgrade. So now you can have 20 spirit emblems total in your inventory. So that is a really good thing, and all that remains now in this episode is we're gonna run over to the sculptor's idol and we're gonna rest, and in the next episode we're gonna venture further into this place. But I wanna thank you very much for watching, and I will see you again in my next video. So until next time, this is the Wolfman signing off.